Hello, Bassoonists. This is Kristin Wolfe Jensen coming to you from my home in Austin, Texas. And I'd like to share with you a mini masterclass on one of my favorite etudes. Czech bassoonist and composer Karel Pavanka wrote this book of rhythmical etudes, which I love to play and I love to use with my students. The etudes are short, catchy little pieces unto themselves. Each one offers valuable challenges which, if approached with keen attention to the precision of rhythmic execution, can contribute greatly to the development of one's ability to subdivide accurately and play with rhythmic integrity. Today I'd like to discuss the first etude in the book, as performed by Quincy Trojanowski, who is one of my students at the Butler School of Music at the University of Texas at Austin. First, let's listen to Quincy's performance all the way through, and then we'll go back and discuss some of the specific musical and rhythmic and inflective properties that make this such an appealing performance. Let's talk about some of the techniques Quincy uses to perform this etude so beautifully. In measure 1, she establishes a resonant sound and maintains a consistent level of that resonance throughout the full range of the instrument by using the appropriate balance of airflow, embouchure engagement, and voicing in the shape of her tongue and oral cavity. She creates a spirit of excitement in the first bar as she starts with a full mezzo forte, but leaves room to increase her volume as she ascends in the range. She leans on the downbeat of the second bar as the first focal point of the subphrase, but tapers away in that beat to add an elegance to the gesture that leads into the rest on beat 2. Notice that in measure 2, she does not breathe in the pairs of 16th rests between beats 2 and 3, as doing so would likely cause her to enter late on the second 16th notes of those beats. Notice also how delicate and clean her articulations are on those entrances in bar 2, on the D and E. She has great control here. Someone's been doing her long tones. The soft, clear entrances help us hear that those notes are not on the beat. They have a lilting forward motion toward the next beat. How does she achieve that control? The tendency on those resistant tenor range notes is to be flat and maybe to crack. Quincy uses a firm energy in her airstream, a closed vowel sound in her voicing, and she leads the articulation with the airstream, not the tongue. By leading with the airstream, I mean that the air's energy literally precedes that of the tongue, and that the tongue's involvement is quite minimal, using, as I like to say, just one taste bud on the tip of the reed. She begins the second line with a bit of a softer, darker timbre, since this phrase is very similar to the first one, but it begins in a less stable harmony. In the second line, she employs similar strategies of gesture and forward motion as in the first phrase, adding extra intensity on the G sharp at the end of the line, since that cadence is quite startling harmonically. Let's listen again to the first 2 lines. Let's look at the next set of phrases, measures 8 to 15. You can see that I've written measure numbers in the left margins. In measure 8, she plays a mysterious piano dynamic, but it's clear with her inflection that the low G is on the downbeat. She keeps the musical motion moving forward on beat 2 with those syncopated 16th notes again, using a very light articulation, so we perceive those notes as being syncopated and not as having the weight of the notes that are on the beat. She applies a logical contour to the shaping of beats 4 and 5, blowing through the peak of the gesture. In measure 10, she applies the light inflection to the syncopated D sharp at the end of beat 2, but then adds a bit of weight to the following B on the and of beat 3, since it is in a more metrically significant spot. Notes occurring on the beat being most prominent and those on the and having secondary importance. She applies the same hierarchy of weight and inflection in measures 12 and 13. In 13, the low D firmly establishes the downbeat. The E and F sharp that follow are very soft and light. The G has a bit more weight since it is on the and of the beat. And then the B after beat 3 starts with a gentle articulation so that she can then build momentum throughout that beat into the downbeat of the next bar. It's amazing how just paying attention to the metric placement of notes can inform the subtleties of inflection and phrase direction. Let's listen again to measures 8 to 15. Since the concepts of metric and harmonic inflection and forward musical motion that we have discussed thus far apply to the remainder of the etude, I will not discuss that material in as much detail. As you listen to the second half again, notice the ringing quality that she adds to the notes that precede rests in measures 25, 26, and 27, as if she were a cellist allowing the string to keep ringing after the bow has left the string. She doesn't play those notes too long, she just allows her air to follow through beyond the end of the note, adding a very quick taper with the airstream. Let's listen to measure 16 through 28. As we listen to measure 29 to the end, notice the tasteful ritardando in the penultimate measure. Each of the last 3 16th notes gets incrementally slightly longer just to set the ending with a hint of majesty. Thank you for tuning in to this mini masterclass, and thank you to Quincy Trojanowski for providing us with an excellent recording to explore. These rhythmic etudes by Pavlenka are lots of fun, and I think we all need to be reminded once in a while to have fun as we pursue our passion for music, our quest for excellence, and our quest for beauty.